What is up, Watch fam? Happy Thursday, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask TNH Live. I am Christian from Theo and Harris, and today I'm going to be revisiting a topic that we spoke about on Monday with Anna: why Seiko sucks. Changed my mind. Let's do it. All right, before we jump into all of the material for today, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing a Universal Genève pole router in solid yellow gold, micro router movement, a beautiful kind of chocolatey dial, absolutely wonderful watch, currently available in the watch shop at theoandharris.com. Okay, so let's get into it. On Monday, the Theo and Harris channel released a video entitled "Seiko Sucks, Changed My Mind." It was Anna and myself discussing Seiko, right? I am not a big Seiko fan. What do I mean by that? I mean that I very actively recognize a lot of their achievements. The brand just doesn't speak to me very much. And since I know a lot of brands and have a lot of watch noise around me all the time, it's hard sometimes to grab my attention, right? I'm pretty desensitized in a lot of ways to small interesting things, and that's not a good thing. That means that I sometimes overlook really important stuff. So that's why I invited Anna on a Rant TNH to change my mind. Anna offers a perspective, I think, that takes a step out of the watch news for a second. She does research, and she presents an argument, right? And I think we made a lot of, ground. I think that my opinion changed. But what I'm going to do now is talk about the entire video, how my opinion did change, and what I really do think about Seiko. So number one, everyone that reacted to the video on the Seiko side, I think that you guys are crazy, and that's a great thing. I think that you guys are real geeks, right? People that take things that are pretty much so irrelevant to the material of their life really seriously, right? You defended Seiko as if I punched your little brother, and I think that is the true sign of a geek. So good job for owning that title, taking it very seriously. Okay. Of course, I didn't hit your brother, but I get where you're coming from. I take Cartier very seriously, or Rolex very seriously in that way. So good for you guys. But I want to talk about what I think was really misconstrued in the video. Okay, Seiko is a very important brand in the world in many ways, and I think that releasing a more comprehensive or a more clear-cut opinion on the brand, like I'm doing right now, is very important. So here it goes. I don't dispute Seiko's achievement in any way, right? I think that their history from the late 19th century until today is incredible. Okay, I think that their developments from the first wristwatches in Japan up until the first quartz movements up until the spring drive, right, are incredible. Seiko has consistently developed and redeveloped and redefined what their brand is, right? They've kept on pushing borders and releasing things that are challenging and probably really costly, right? And things that aren't in the same vein, right? I think it's amazing that Seiko can offer a watch as complex as the spring drive, a watch that almost no one can explain fully and explain where it gets its energy from without reading or pulling directly from a Seiko source, right? That's incredible, right? That company also produces an entry-level, probably maybe the perfect entry-level mechanical watch in the SKX or in the Seiko 5s or in the SARBs, right? The two polar sides impress me, right? So let's stop right there. I think that Seiko in many ways, reminds me of like JLC. They really do deliver value. The difference is, and it's a good difference, is that Seiko delivers that value all across the board. To get into JLC value territory, you're in the $8,000 or $9,000 range, right, or $7,000 range. To get into Seiko's idea and execution of value, you can talk about a couple $100. And I know that Seiko does, like we said before, does get so much more complicated in their entry-level models. Like I said, the spring drive is a revolution, and I think it took, 20 years to develop? And again, I still don't understand it, and I've read a lot about it. I still can't regurgitate it to you and pretend like I get it, right? Because it's much more complicated than what Rolex produces. It's much more complicated than Patek. I mean, think about what Patek does, right? They finish things real well. right? We don't really hear about innovation comparable to the spring drive in the world of Patek Philippe. We don't. It happens. They reintroduce things. They introduce them in different ways. But Seiko reinvents the wheel again and again and again, right? And the fact that they do that at so many different price points is not just impressive, right? I mean, it's a marketer's dream. It's my dream. Right? If I could work for forget pay or anything like that, if I could choose a company to market for, Seiko would absolutely be up there, because unlike Rolex and Patek and all these other brands, I don't think they've ever been marketed for properly.
When she first gave it to me, I said, "Did you get me a Seiko? What is this? It's my birthday."
Rolex is marketed for perfectly. If I executed my dream at Rolex, I would probably just be another Rolex marketer, right? Same thing at Patek. I'd basically be doing the same thing. Maybe a little different here, a little different there, or whatever. But ultimately, I don't think I'd make that much of an impact. But at Seiko, you know, with so much that is just amazing, with a history of over 100 and whatever years of pure dedication to the wristwatch, and I think Japanese tradition of perfectionism all over the board, that's a marketing dream. So, yeah, Seiko doesn't speak to me, you know, and I think that that's probably not the fault of the watchmakers, and it's not the fault of their designers, and it's not the fault of the people that are on the technical and product end. But their brand and their marketing doesn't speak to me, you know, and that's a really sad thing. And I think that Seiko could overcome a lot of their market issues, you know, a lot of their reach issues, if they did communicate their message better. Because delivering the best at every price point is a hell of a message. So yeah, going into this conversation, in many ways, I do think Seiko sucks. But before you jump to a conclusion and before you go nuts, understand why, right? What the reason is, you know, that causes this. Because it ain't their watches. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Ask Teenage Live. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel at Theo and Harris for more awesome watch geeky content.